Hi, I'm Kevin. Today we'll be talking with John about private revelation. We will be discussing 4 books and the amazing women behind these books. So please sit back, enjoy, and let us know your thoughts. So the ones you picked out, here's one of the first ones.
All right. So this book is called The Way of Divine Love. It was written by a nun from Spain who had entered a French convent in the 1920s. She had over 100 visions of hell, and she actually physically went to hell. That was
so like the kids at Fatima were shown hell.
Yes.
So, but
it's a big difference.
Okay.
She actually offered herself to endure all of the pains of hell. So she would be praying in her room, and then all of a sudden she might hear chains or a sound coming down the hallway, and it was the devil and the demons. They would drag her into hell. The thing that's terrifying about this is that because she felt all the pains of hell, she truly felt like she was never going to get out. Mm. Like she was lost forever.
So how long would a
one
episode?
descent? It could be hours.
Hours.
Yeah. But it was ultimately, as with all of these books, it's joining your sufferings to Christ for the salvation of souls. So all of these are connected in that way, just simply to offer ourselves. And some are obviously, these women were called to deeper sufferings, but all of it is for the salvation of souls. So this is a really great book. I highly recommend this one.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, so the next book we have is The Mystical City of God. So we have the abridged version and your 4-volume version.
Yeah. The Mystical City of God was written by Mary of Agreda, who was a Conceptionist nun from Spain also. She had revelations from the Blessed Virgin Mary about the Blessed Virgin Mary's life as well as our Lord. She lived in the early 1600s, died in about 1665. She had a gift of bilocation. So there's a classic story of the conquistadors coming to New Mexico and encountering the Native Americans, and they already knew their catechism. And they said to them, "Who taught you?" And they described Mary of Agreda exactly in her habit. And so she would bilocate from Spain to teach the Native Americans. One of the most famous people, saints really, who ever had a devotion to this was Solanus Casey. And Solanus Casey initially was skeptical of this, but he came to love it, and it became his go-to book. And he read over a 40-year period. He read from cover to cover all these 4 times, three times on his knees. He loved this beyond compare. I mean, it was.
So I know this book is one of your one you will always quote. The Mystical City of God says this or this, and I know that's one of the things that you know a lot of stuff in there, and you always give those little tidbits of information of the life of Our Lady.
It is in our Lord. Yeah, it's amazing. In fact, along those lines, now that you brought that up, Mel Gibson, when he was writing the Passion, used these books as well as the 4-volume set from Anne Catherine Emmerich, which we also will talk about, for a screenplay.
Right.
And when you watch the Passion, you can see word for word how he took these and developed that. One thing that sticks in my mind is that the demons actually knew that Jesus Christ was God. The fact is they didn't. They were testing him, and what's revealed in these books is that they were always kept kind of on edge. They weren't sure, and then when they realized at the end, when they themselves were causing the salvation of the world by killing him, they tried to stop it, but it was too late, and Our Lady chains all of them.
I love this part.
And drags them to the foot of the cross to see their demise.
To make them watch.
Yes, what they created, what they caused.
Right.
And so that's another fascinating thing that I learned from these books. So yeah, you can either go with the abridged version, it's just simple to get the basics, or the 4-volume set, but great for meditation. You can just open any page. So The Mystical City of God by Mary of Agreda.
So the next one is the Dolorous Passion.
That's the Dolorous Passion.
What did I say?
Dolorous.
How do you say it?
Dolorous.
Dolorous?
Dolorous.
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 Dolorous Passion.
Dolorous Passion. And Catherine Emmerich.
Yep.
So you have the 4-volume
Yep.
and the abridged. And
So Anne Catherine Emmerich lived in the 1800s. She was a nun who suffered, all these women suffered a lot of the stigmata, and she also suffered different pains of our Lord on different feast days, different, on Good Friday, things like that. This is purely visions that Anne Catherine Emmerich has from as a child up until she died. Very vivid accounts, and the Dolorous Passion is essentially, from these 4 volumes, it's just a snippet of just the part of the Passion.
so I did read that.
Okay.
And of course, I go with the abridged versions of everything. But I read that during Lent, and it just put a whole new understanding of what our Lord went through. You know, you read in the gospel and think how bad it is, but then you get this whole extra going from the garden to the temple and what he went through and how they beat him up and threw, you know, like in the movie, they threw him down. I mean, it's incredible what he went through, and reading that it really made Lent just more, I guess, understanding what our Lord had to go through.
No, it is a spectacular book to read during that time. You can open any page and get fruit, but yeah, there were some other interesting things that I learned from this. One was about the actual chalice that our Lord used at the Last Supper, and Catherine Emmerich describes it as first being used by Melchizedek when he offered the first sacrifice. And then that chalice was handed on to Noah, and Noah kept it on the ark and passed it down through the patriarchs all the way to our Lord at the Last Supper. The Life of our Lord Jesus Christ, Anne Catherine Emmerich, and the Dolorous Passion.
Last one is the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina, Divine Mercy.
Again, amazing book. Essentially, she was a nun in the 1920s and 30s. She died very young of tuberculosis, but she offered all of her sufferings for the salvation of souls. She suffered intensely in every way possible, and she made a consecration of all of her sufferings for the salvation of souls. She had visions of hell. She had the devils would appear to her. One time she had prayed and she was walking back to her room, and a pack of black dogs appeared to her and said, "We're going to tear you to pieces."
The dog said that?
The dogs, all
Okay.
the dogs, yeah. And she realized they were demons.
Okay.
But she said, if it's God's will, then go ahead and tear me to pieces. But then they realized that they disappeared after that.
It's like St. Teresa of Lisieux. Didn't she say, if it pleases God to send me to hell, then I'll go to hell?
Yeah.
I mean,
that sounds about
whatever
right.
pleases God.
I think when you're on that kind of level of the spiritual plane and you're in such love with our Lord that you would do anything.
So the one thing I also got from this book is the angels don't understand God's mercy.
Yeah.
They
can't comprehend it.
They can't comprehend it. We fall and we get back. We fall and we get back. We fall.
Yeah, there's so many good stories, but I'd say this is currently probably the most important book for people to read, to trust in our Lord's mercy, but also to pray for others. And as the world gets worse and worse, we really need to have that. So, the Divine Mercy in My Soul, Diary of Sister Faustina, highly recommended. Now, there's some people that want to doubt this. There's always going to be people that doubt this kind of stuff, but why doubt our Lord when He's offering us?
And again, all these books are private revelation. What do you say to those people that don't bother reading that? It's private revelation. You shouldn't be reading that.
Well, I mean, in their defense, you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to read these to get to heaven. But I think you're selling yourself short when our Lord gives all these opportunities to know His love and His mercy. You can take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's impossible to read any of these without bearing fruit.
There's so much more here.
Yes.
I mean, yes, we showed you 5 books, but we have probably 1,000 different titles. We have reference books, we have Bibles, we have everything. Stop in, see us. We have people here to help you out, and You might even bump into John and get some good recommendations.
Thank you for watching the Leaflet Missal YouTube channel. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please subscribe below. Remember that Leaflet Missal also has a store of tens of thousands of Catholic products, gifts, devotionals, and more for you to shop. You can shop in person in our St. Paul store or online at the link below. Thank you.